Hi, and welcome to the IMOUT podcast, where we talk about all things alternative, indie, and rock music in the north of Scotland. My guest today has been an advocate of new music in the north for the last 20 years as part of the Netsounds team. He's a man who, in the absence of a rental van, will help you get your gear to deepest, darkest Dorica in a pickup truck, and also a man who, I'm sad to say, I've seen with my own eyes be first named by his daughter when looking for money at a festival. My friend, Mr Jamie MacDonald.
Ian, how are you? I'd forgotten about the pickup van, actually.
Yeah, was it a Hilux?
It was meant to be a car that we were, or a van at least, that we were transporting you guys down to.
We were there.
A festival. I can't remember who we were taking.
So it was Wizard Festival.
Yeah.
And we were there, or I was there.
Yeah.
But this is during the dark years, so I can't tell you how my friend John took me.
Yeah.
So and you had the gear.
Yeah. So that's right, we had the gear. So we went to get the transport and we were told it's a pickup truck. We're like, it's not what we booked, actually, I think. I remember having a wee bit of an argument with the guy going, it's definitely not a pickup truck we organised. Actually, with the passing of time, it probably was a bit of a cock-up from our end.
Who booked the transport?
Might have been...
All right. Okay.
Me. Might have been Steve Robertson.
Aye.
I'm happy to blame Steve.
Who knows?
Who knows?
So yeah, and then did you ratchet strap the stuff to the back? I just remember you getting there on site, and we were just like, I think that's them.
We were concerned it was going to rain because we had all this stuff just lying.
You had no tarp, did you?
No, nothing.
Wow.
And we were going guitars, amps, all that kind of stuff just lying in the back. Not just lying in the back, we've been thrown about these roads. and we got there and it was fine.
And we did the gig.
It's a good night. I think James were playing as well, were they not? That weekend.
Aye. I think James the band, James
the band, yeah.
And I think James as in the Mackenzie James was playing. Was he that year?
Well, he played at most festivals then, everywhere, so probably
that was Wizard Festival in New Deer Showground.
Really good, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was good fun, man. And there was a lot of that year, but yeah. And yeah, I mean, at that festival when I saw a bleak window into a dark future. My little one's only 3.
Yeah.
But when your teenage child asked you, said, Jamie, I need a tenner for chips, right? The two things that struck me about that is like the first name, I went, that's cold. That's cold.
Yeah.
And at what point did she think that you think chips are a tenner?
Yeah, so I get called Jamie, I get called pal, I get called bruh.
Bruh.
Yeah, bruh.
Bruh.
So all of that. Rarely is it dad.
Wow.
Unless she's after something.
Aye. Like a tenner. But like must be more than a tenner to be dad.
Oh, yeah. Then it's daddy.
Oh, daddy.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And it's 50 quid or above.
But yeah, she's very much Jamie, bruh, and all of that kind of stuff. I'm lucky if I get dad.
I'm not looking forward to that part, but I'm sure it comes.
That's fine.
Matt, has that happened to you, Matt? Yeah. Wow. Oh man, remember when we used to all hang out at the pub and stuff, and now we're talking about how cold it is that our kids don't call us dad? Well, mine still does, but he's only 3.
But you said 20 years there as well. I was thinking about that on the way in, actually, when we started this. I think it probably was. I think certainly one of our first podcasts, which is this, it made me laugh, actually, because I think one of the first podcasts we did was around 2007 or 2008.
I said 2 decades because I didn't want to date you.
Yeah. It's around then, I think.
Well. So do you know? I was away at university when I discovered your podcast and what you were doing, and I was in my flat, and all the guys in Call to Mind.
Yeah.
I'd been to see them somewhere. Probably at Belladrum, and through somebody I knew, they were like, "Oh, these are our friends."
Yeah.
And I went, and they were so good. It like proper blew me away. I think did they not play in a tent when Matt? Maybe you played that year too. So I was down in Edinburgh, and then I came home and I went to Belladrum, and the Now and Call to Mind, and did Shutter play as well?
2006.
I don't know the year, but like in a tent.
Probably about right, yeah.
And I thought, man,
a big white tent with horrible lighting.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but I remember going, this is awesome, and then I was away studying, and I had an iPod Classic. Like, well, first of all, I had a Creative Zen.
Yeah, well, very cool.
They were awesome, and they were actually the first, because the iPod had the horrible scroll wheel thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
And the Zen had like the touchpad stripe thing.
That's right.
And it was 20 gig when I got it, and that was like mental.
Yeah.
Because iPods were tiny. Anyway, but then I had an iPod Classic, and I got well into podcasts for bus journeys and stuff, which, by the way, I had to pay for. Like,
but there wasn't a lot of people doing podcasts really then, and I think we I interviewed we don't do podcasts now, which is ironic because everyone's doing podcasts.
Yeah.
And about hi, and about I think just after COVID, we started a kind of wee series of a Blether with podcasts, kind of like this actually.
Well, we did it just before because we did one upstairs.
We did, yeah. And I interviewed my cousin Finlay MacDonald actually, who's done stuff with on his own right and BMX Bandits, and he's done stuff with Teenage Fan Club. So he's done a lot in the Glasgow music scene. And he said to me, he thought that ours was the first time he'd heard podcasts mentioned.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that is ironic because now we don't do them and everyone else is. But I don't even know if it was a podcast. And I think we were trying to be a kind of indie kind of show and like showcase music that we didn't think other people were being exposed to in mainstream radio.
It was a radio show that you didn't need a station for.
Yeah,
right.
Internet radio. It's NES MP3 is what it started.
That's and Kevin Sheep. Remember that?
Yeah, Kevin Sheep, Rob
Ellen.
Rob Ellen and Dave Sidley.
Okay.
And I remember Murray Cameron and I sat up at his house with a cup of tea one night and did this thing, and it was NES MP3.
Yeah.
And they had this kind of channel stuff that they put stuff out, and there was a guy from Caithness playing an accordion and stuff like that, and then there was us with 3 listeners a week kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was quite nice. It was quite exciting, and like we were playing bands like Shutter and you guys and other bands and Call to Mind around that time.
Well, I just thought it was awesome because there was new music shows on other stuff, but you know,
this was really grassroots kind of stuff.
Very much so. And there was something really kind of, people always think about, even though I was away, I came back a lot, right? So I figured out if I came back and I worked as much as humanly possible behind the bar and hootenannies, I didn't have to work in Edinburgh. So if I worked like flat out every time uni was off and earned as much money as I could just go to gigs and stuff down there. So I was home a lot. And people think about being Highland is usually tartan dollars and whistles and nonsense. And there's something really Highland about that actually doing its thing. And I remember thinking, like, there's loads of... I'd already left to study, but I was always I think I was always intending on coming back. And I thought, man, they're killing it. The bands that were here were great. Like, and then you guys have started that important part of the culture where people are talking about music. And because, musicians are kind of weird and difficult. They're not great at selling themselves. Nobody is. That's why there's a whole industry around them, right? So that part was there. And I remember listening to it, and I used to look forward to it. And it was one of the first ones that I subscribed to. I had you and all the Gervais stuff that they did on, like, that was it. But it was really, because it was, it was a reflection of what was happening at that time.
Yeah.
And everything was, like, there was a flow line to it.
Yep.
You would go to a gig, you would go do a thing, something would be released or whatever. It wasn't just like a radio show where they were just playing a selection of music. It was like you were definitely part of that thing.
We didn't have jingles, we didn't have all that. It was very much a DIY, we're in our bedroom doing a radio show type thing. Yeah. And I think it worked at its time, and it was cool to do. I think when we started off, and I don't think anyone really took us seriously. I don't know if they still do, but I don't think anyone really took us seriously at the time. It was kind of like, who are these kind of internet geeks? What's all this about that they're doing? They're a podcast, and they're turning up. And I was saying to Matt earlier, we were turning up with our wee point and shoot cameras at the time, and we're in trying to get into the pit, which actually was great. A great education, because I see lots of photographers now, young guys who are just starting out with very basic gear, wanting to know these same things that we went through. It's like, how'd you do that? How'd you get into that? How'd you manage to get to take photos of bands? And you tell them that story and they're like, oh, so you can do it. Of course you can do it. You can do it. And I think in many ways it's easier now to do a lot of that stuff with the technology that we have.
I think just, people think that you can't just ask questions about anything. Like about how do you get to do stuff? Well, you ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
people are interested.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe our podcast was kind of like an early version of Chat GPT. Maybe.
I still don't use it. I'm not really into it. I mean, I don't know.
I'm a wee bit addicted to it. Actually, really? Not addicted to it, but it's weird. I find it my go-to. What actually Google does. So I stop myself sometimes and go just go on Google and ask.
So forgive my ignorance, but what are you getting from ChatGPT you can't just get from Google? Like what are you getting like from it?
So I think what you're getting is, and I'm no expert in this, is like.
But no, you like why would you use ChatGPT over Google? Because I've not had an instance in my life where I don't, like, do you know what I mean?
I think if you want to ask specific questions, like, say for instance, you were wanting to create a healthy meal plan or something ridiculous like that for the week, or a training plan for, Matt's doing the marathon and all that kind of stuff, a training plan, it will create all of that for you. Whereas Google will point you to sites where it will actually create something for you. I
get why I'm not there then, because I'm not at a point
you don't
where
want a training plan.
I think clearly, Jamie, but I think what you're saying, I'm a finely tuned machine. But I don't want the decisions taken away from me at every point. I want the information.
Yeah, fair point.
That's the way my brain. But even with like recording software, I don't use. Like I don't use in recording software. You can get an algorithm to do your drum edit for you.
Yeah.
I still don't do that.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
I still go through manually, and it's just, I guess it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think they're talking about music and stuff as well. It's going to get really good at really mediocre music, but that's it. It's okay. And if you're into that kind of music, you're probably not. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Okay, I got you. So that was like sort of 2006, were you saying, 2007?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Right about that time.
And then, because I remember you guys were at things. So I came back to, I must have met you before I come home properly.
Murray and I started going to gigs, and I think what got it for us, or what turned the tide for us, was we would go to see gigs at the weekend. There'd be maybe a band from Glasgow up, or there'd maybe a more popular kind of bubbling under indie band playing, and you guys or someone or whoever would be supporting, or people were just putting things on, like pop-ups in I remember Borders Music, there was something up there at one point. In fact, Matt, that might have been Jutter at one point, I don't know, but I remember a band playing there. And I remember Igloo, it used to be on Church Street. It used to be like little pop-up shows. It felt like a real kind of buzz.
Well, there was. I mean, Igloo was where I started the studio.
That's right.
That's where Graham Hanks, we talked about him on the last podcast too, but he saw something in what was going on, and he facilitated it. And even you guys, during like Go North and then Expo North, giving you somewhere to do sessions and all that kind of stuff. It's funny because I was looking after a gig in Ann Shomer like on Saturday last week, and the route to stage, if you don't want to go down the steps, and like, which is a bit awkward, you can go through the back door and walk down the stairs to Igloo, and that's where the studio was.
Oh, right, cool, because it's connected. It's
so you walk down the back, and then it was just really nice to be back in there.
We'd go and see these bands, and then we'd go into work on Monday or through the week, and people say, where were you at the weekend? And you'd say a name, and they'd go, who? Who were you seeing? And you'd go, well, this is it. And they're like, So Murray and I were kind of like, how do people hear about that music without going to see it? How do we get them to try and go and see the band? And that's kind of where we probably started the idea for the podcast, is let's play some of that stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a big part of it. Like, I think people ignore the tribalism of like, of each individual community in every city.
Yep.
But then I also think people lean on that too much at the same time as well. So people think just because they are doing a thing in a city, it's people's responsibility to go to that thing. And that's never going to be true of anything.
No.
You need to tell your mates, I'm doing a gig when you're first starting out, and you need to I mean, like, if you've got 5 in a band, 4 in a band, and you can't get 8 people to go to a gig, you haven't got like...
You haven't got a lot of friends.
You haven't got... Well, no, you haven't got one friend each, and maybe a parent. When I came up to play my uni band, The Breach, remember?
Breach, yeah.
The Breach, and then we came up to play The Market.
I probably still got a Breach CD somewhere.
Have you? Yeah. Oh man, I'm still playing some of those songs.
Scribbly writing in the front, was it?
I don't know, mate. A guy that did graphic stuff did that for me. Who I saw at Pete Dean from last September.
Okay, yeah.
From Suburbia. Remember the band with Ainsley Henderson in it and stuff?
Yeah.
The song from FIFA. Pete got married recently.
Yeah.
And I went down to that wedding, and the guy who did that logo was there. And do you know what his name is? Beastman. That's what his name is. And it's still Beastman on my phone. He was the best man, and I was like, you're the Beastman. And that was it. Yeah. That's all I saw that weekend. But yeah, he was a graphic design guy. He did that wobbly thing. Yeah. It was a good name.
Yeah, The Breach. Yeah.
It was a good name for a band. It was all right. It was cool. But we came up to play The Market, and what I was going to say is, like, everyone that I'd asked everyone to come, and it was us and a band called Napoleon Syndrome.
Sounds familiar.
So that was, I think, it was Ian Howie. I think Gary Ross was in it too, maybe not. But yeah, they were all little guys. So I was, they were really heavy and we weren't. But that changed journey. And Richard Cass was playing drums.
Right, okay, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So we came up to do that.
Homework.
Yeah, homework. And then he's now playing with Evelyn Glennie and he's doing crazy well. And, he loves drums, right?
Yep.
So, because Richard and I had been in a high school band playing.
That's right, you guys were in school together.
Yeah, he's a year below me. So we were playing covers of Beatles, and I think we actually played Stairway at one thing. It was amazing. Just a high school, can't tell, don't care. We'd let it be. Yeah, it was great. Rock and Roll Star, played Rock and Roll Star.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that good, but it was good. And he was so good. The drumming on that was
awesome
fine.
drummer.
Yeah. Too good sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want somebody to sit on the backbeat.
But there was lots of those bands, I think, that were bubbling under and just trying to do something and create a scene, and it felt very vibrant. And it sounds like that doesn't exist now. It does. It's just different now. I think. It's more challenging for bands in many ways.
Yeah, I think. Well, we were used to not. The year before I went down to study, I went for an audition to get into the degree, right? And I got home that night. And that's the night Hatters opened.
Oh, okay.
And I knew nothing about it because I was 17, and maybe just turned 18. And I just walked into it and I was like, couldn't believe that we had that.
Yeah.
Because before that, it literally was, the Market, which is awesome, and like Blackfriars or a load of sort of covers bands and sort of entertainment-y places, right? And I was never, I was too young for the Railway Club. Yeah. And that was the way at the time as well. So I couldn't believe we had that. And then when I didn't go that year, and I went to Allness for that 1 year in between that audition. I auditioned for a guitar, and I'm all right. I could play the guitar, but I didn't know there was a composition, a songwriting arm of it. So I got down, and they were like, and I started playing them all these songs, but I didn't know I'd auditioned for a guitar. Anyway. So they were like, "You're an idiot. Come back." Well, like the songwriting part was full, but they would come back next year, right? And we'll take you straight to interview and blah blah blah. So I was like, "What am I going to do?" So I got a job in Hootenanny because I'd been at that venue, and I thought this is awesome. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the college for a year, and just locked myself in a room for a year, and tried to teach myself how to sing. Which the results are still out, but somebody has got to do it, right? So that was it, and it was so good. But there was so much happening, and then when I was away. And then this is when you started the podcast, I started hearing about like these bands. Like I'd come back and work that and I go, man, those are really good bands. That's cool. And then the Ironworks opened when I was away and I was like, oh man. And then at one point you had, so Belladrum was going from strength to strength. And you had Rockness just appeared out of nowhere. Yep. Like, wow. And then
you had Hatters, you had Hoots, you had... there was the odd pop-up stuff. I don't know. The Rigmore was maybe still
Rigmore still gets used. Rob was still doing stuff at the Rigmore. Like,
definitely. Yeah.
Like I went to see Call to Mind Support breaks in the Rigmore.
Remember we met Dougie Brown was just going through to the Rigmore. There was loads of great stuff on there.
Yeah.
So there was there were more venues. There were more places.
Well, everywhere's a venue though. So if you think about the Rigmore, it's not really. It's you got to put the speakers in and you got to do the thing.
Yeah, it's not.
And
venue,
that was like the that's what they did. And then I think what happened was there's a weird thing that happened in this. I'm not saying a bad thing, but like in every other city I know, like venues will hire themselves to people to put on gigs. So that encourages people that are in bands or people that aren't in bands but just like music to act as a promoter.
Yeah.
Venues here, and mainly because of that curfew that used to exist, remember? Where you had to be in a pub by midnight and then you were locked in.
Yep.
Wouldn't, like they would just pay a band, irrespective. There was no tickets. There was no onus on a band to put on an event or to get people to go. They were just, so you were treating original bands like entertainment bands.
Yeah.
Which was great and bad.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it was great because when you just started a band, you were like, well, man, we can go do a gig. That's awesome. We're going to get paid. But it never put any onus on the part where you learn to actually develop an audience that's your own and actually develop your own little community of these stuff. Because that's it. But the venues didn't care. As long as you played over midnight and nobody could leave.
Absolutely. And you saw that in Hoots. In Hatters, you would see bands playing and people either come in and then take one look and go back downstairs to the fiddles or whatever. So it was difficult for a band to create their own audience, I think, or their own shows, really, in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you started then asking, so like the Irons sometimes, I remember with the first time, like I played there, like it was supports and stuff, and that was great, you know. But I'd been doing it when I was in the Breach and stuff again, like so we because me and Rich were from here.
Yeah.
There was a thing that would happen that when they booked local supports, somehow I'd still get a call, even though two of us were sitting in Edinburgh. Well, we're all sitting. The two of us were from here, but that's it. And we would travel and we would do it, and it would be like, you know, fuel was cheaper back then.
Yeah.
I remember being in the car when fuel hit 72 pence and going, oh, it's an outrage, right? But or whatever, you know. But yeah, we'd come and do it, and it was all part of that thing.
Yeah.
But by the time, you know, we did Hatters and it was great, and then when you started going, do you know what? Let's put on a gig, and then places like the IMOUTs are there.
Let's do our own shows.
And it was like literally a case of like, how much is it?
Yeah.
Can we do it?
Yep.
You know, nobody came from that venue. This is the thing. Sometimes I think bands don't understand about venues. They're used to the old way of it being like a pub or an entertainment thing where they have to fill a diary and put stuff on.
Yeah.
Venues are hireable spaces for people who want to put on gigs.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Put on a show, bring the people in, create your audience, build your audience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if you can't, you know, not you can't, but if you're not at a stage where you're filling the venues that do exist, like I hear a lot of people kind of saying, it's awful that we don't have 1,000 cap venue anymore. Mm-hmm, it is. Mm-hmm. However, when they're not filling the 75 cap rooms, so just enjoy those ones.
Yeah.
Like I did some awesome gigs, and I'm not saying I'm saying I really enjoyed the experience of playing in like the Tooth and Claw when I did those shows with Willie McCaskill and Chris Douglas there. It was so nice.
Yeah,
to go and do it.
It's a nice wee venue. It sounds a bit odd. I think sometimes it's so silent.
Yeah, I think that's to do with the neighbours.
Not odd, but it's a different vibe, a different sound to some others. But that's a soundproofing, I think, isn't it?
It's like an anechoic chamber, right?
Exactly.
Basically, like you have to put all the ambience back into it because there isn't any left.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it goes to when you go into it, but that's because like there was a flat next door, and
that's right. But it's some great wee gigs there. Yeah,
I'm better that happens.
In fact, that night the three of you played there worked really well with the acoustics.
It was great.
It was good. Man,
you know, and that's what I'm saying, to go and play the smaller places, like as someone that's really important to enjoy that part of it as well. If to do that gig, if your ego or like anything, you go, well, I've done this venue, of course I must do that venue. It would be so stupid to do a show like that in a big place.
Yeah,
and hire like the big place and not, you know,
absolutely.
Like and I think there's a lot of people having a foresight thinking they're missing something that they didn't really embrace fully as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And missing out on the fact, like when we did the label launch that night, it was a Spectrum Centre. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like you can put equipment into a venue, and when we did the Botanic House just there, that nightclub where we put in all the stuff, it would have been better if, like, Anne Schumer was there was another venue I could walk into and hire, but there wasn't. So you go, right, what do you do? Well, you go, right.
You got to make your own, you create your own. It's like, you know, if you're a young band starting up, it's like looking around, where can we play? What can we do?
Yeah.
Rather than waiting.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I think there's a lot of that in the past as well. I talked to Dougie Brown about this a bit, like, and when he used to put gigs on in Balmain House.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And that was the home of traditional music, apart from when Dougie put a gig on. Yeah. And then it would just be loads of kids in the basement going crazy. You know, I really footprints on the ceiling and stuff, and just lots of chaos, you know. So, yeah, I'm not saying people are afraid, but I think they don't understand that venues don't have a responsibility to fill themselves. And in fact, when they aren't able to do that and people stop using them, that's when they get into trouble.
Yeah, you've got to work it. You've got to do everything. You've got to. It's not just, we used to say to bands, it's like, what have you done to promote the gig? Oh, we put a Facebook ad up. Or whatever. It's like, that's not really enough. You know, it's like, have you spoken to people? Have you told them about it? Have you sold it? You know? It's
probably, I mean, I don't know the legalities of this, but whatever. Like, so back when Dave, the bass player in the Outsiders, and we used to work in Hootenannies, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I had a show in somewhere like the IMOUT, it's like a big one, like I did the album launch or whatever, I'd go to the venue, I'd get physical tickets, and you would come in and like maybe
Yeah.
buy a pint, and I give you a pint
Yeah.
and put a ticket next to it
Yeah.
and go, that'll be whatever. They go, do you mean? I'm like, well, actually, do you want to come up with my gig? Now, I think there were probably times when people bought tickets just so I would leave them alone for the rest of the night.
I'm wanting a pint.
Yeah.
This crazy man with
Well,
tickets.
they know, like, worked there for a long time, they all knew me, or whatever. Or,
Yeah.
I'd be at the thing, like, the back, and they would go, when's the gig? And I'm like, funny, you should ask, and the ticket comes out, and there you go.
But you've got to do that. You've got to be that travelling salesman as well as
Aye.
that troubadour. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's not, people forget they have to punt themselves
Yeah, absolutely.
because it's no one else's responsibility to do it,
Yeah.
But then stuff like your podcast took some of that off, and it made like something quite community based about all those bands that were at a point where they were recording stuff, or they were, and it wasn't genre specific, Jamie.
Yeah.
Because what can happen, or what I've experienced, like, was that people go into little pockets of their genre, right? So all the heavy metal
You're
guys
right.
do the heavy metal thing, all the indie guys do that thing as well. Whereas a show like yours covers a broad range, and then actually people that play different types of music all know
Yeah.
they're about. And then that would be, when we had Expo North and Go North and stuff, all those bands would be around as well. And
Yeah.
actually, I feel that the Netsounds show made it very apparent that this city was just as capable as every other city at that point.
Yeah, I think so, and I don't think we ever kind of saw it as that, but I think you're right, and I think as well, the bands that we played, the artists we played, there was no specific genre, and actually what we got a lot of, or have had some criticism from in the past, is around we play what we like.
Aye.
And I don't mean that to sound up our own arse, but why would we sit and do a podcast and play something by a band we don't like? When I say don't like,
No, I get you.
I mean, it's just not our thing.
Well, I make records, right?
yeah.
And it's like, can you make this record? No, I don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand. That's the wrong thing. And you're allowed, if you are not funded, right, by the council
Yeah.
or the government or whatever, to with the responsibility of all art
Yeah.
in your area.
Exactly.
Do whatever you want.
And we did. I remember having this conversation with Margaret Crystal, who was at the
Yeah,
Highland
I
News
love
at the
Margaret.
time.
I love Margaret.
And she put it in context for us, and she said, that's not what you guys do. You guys play what you like because... And I think because we did that kind of passion came through in what we did and what we write about. And I think now it comes through in terms of what we take photos of. We've got Hoodie and Alan on board, and they take some cracking photos along, with myself. And I think we kind of apply that a little bit to that as well, as like, I'm not going to go and shoot that because it's not really my bag.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different with photography maybe, but we do kind of still, I mean, our playlists that we put up, we're not just going to put up somebody on, and we have had this, where a local band would say, why are we not on your playlist, or why are we not on your podcast?
Well, what do they want the answer? Yeah, because the truth is, we don't really like it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, but then, they're looking at it in a really old fashioned way, that you guys are responsible for what other people consume. It's a digital world. You're a digital platform.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're the controller at the BBC in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. And I know loads of people I'm really close to that aren't really into the music I make, but they still respect that I do it, and they still respect the way I do it, but they're not really into the songs, and that's all right.
Absolutely.
I would probably say there's, I mean, like people I'm really close with. If you're basing your opinion of who your friends is or who you speak to around the fact that they do or don't like your art, that's weird.
Absolutely. I mean, and I've tried to share some of the stuff we do with, people say, so what is it? What is this Netsounds? What do you do? And you tell them and you show them. And some are like, oh, that's really interesting. I like it. And others will be like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to not be your friend. Or
No.
whatever. I don't care.
Well, it's like, when I was booking supports for that Botanic House show, and then I booked The Chosen Lonely and I booked Reliever.
Yeah.
And they're great. They're both great bands.
Yep.
But they do rehearse in this room. It's easier for me, as a father of a toddler, for bands walk through the door who I know are good bands and are nice people.
Both good bands. Both
And I
nice
go,
pe-
do you want to come play a gig?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go looking for loads of stuff. I'm like,
100%.
nah, man.
Yeah.
And I can
because
tell
you know
them.
what you'll get, and you know that both of those bands will deliver.
Yeah.
And both of those bands too will work their arses off.
Well, they're in every week, so if they don't, I could be like, look, guys, like, help me, like, let's do it together, and not in a weird,
And so in that way, kind of coming back to that about, is that scene still there? I think it is. I think it's just different now.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, people say things like, oh, there aren't any great bands around nowadays and all this kind of stuff. I remember, I think it was, what's his name from Death Cab for Cutie? Ben Gibbard?
Not my era. Do you know who that is, Matt?
Is it Ben Gibbard?
Matt says yes.
Yeah.
Matt's cool.
So he did some.
Matt knows who Death Cab for Cutie are. I still like Pearl Jam.
He
That's
did
my kind of deal.
I Will
Better
Follow
Boy's
You
quite
Into the
good.
Dark. What a tune. I Will Follow You Into the Dark. Great tune.
That was Andrew Barnett's wedding
Yeah.
dance.
Oh, was it?
There you
Right.
go.
So he did a interview for some Frightened Rabbit Scott Hutchison tribute thing, and it kind of took me by surprise at the start of it, because he said something like, people say there aren't any decent bands around now. Or there aren't any, where's all the good indie bands now?
Yeah.
And I was like, what's he saying here? There's lots of great bands.
Yeah.
And what he meant was that people do say that all the time. They say, I haven't heard a really good band in a long time, or whatever. And he had a theory for this, which I quite like, is that when you're 16, 17, and you're listening to music for the first time, whether that is Oasis or The Breach or whoever it is.
Nobody was 60 listening to The Breach. I was an old man
when you're
writing
listening,
old man songs, even when I was in my early 20s.
Exactly.
Jamie.
So when you're listening to like bands like whatever it is, Nirvana or, I don't know, the Beatles, whoever it is, or Oasis, and you're 16, 17, that blows your mind. That's, that I remember looking through my mum's record collection and finding things like the Beatles and the Stones and stuff like that, and thinking, wow, where do I get more of this?
Yeah.
And then when you get in your 20s and into your 30s, and certainly by the time you're in your 30s and 40s, you've heard most things that will blow your mind.
Aye.
This is what his theory was. This.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not that there aren't any more great bands. It's just that the stuff that's blown you away has happened in your teens or your 20s and stuff. And so there are still great bands, but it impacts you in a different way.
Well, whether you want to accept it or not, just being on the planet for that long settles you into a pattern.
Absolutely.
Of how you're like. So you're not really aware of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I just said there, like I get a talk to Dougie about this as well, and he talks about bands and stuff, and I'm like, oh, nice one, great. Pearl Jam put a record out 2 weeks ago, and he's like, oh, shut up. But I'm quite. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not. I have no algorithm on my things. That I don't do new music Friday, that stuff. What I do really enjoy listening to.
Oh,
is
my algorithm's in deep trouble, and I'm still trying to sort it out, because until we got the family packages for your streaming service, I'd be like going, when was I listening to Chapel Rowan, or when was I listening to this? But actually, I have been listening to a bit of Chapel Rowan recently, but that's another story.
I've never heard it, but I'm all right.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
it'll come when it comes.
It'll come. Yeah.
It's but I think that sort of, what. I think people are often, everyone looks at everything through rose-tinted glasses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't like that in my day.
I don't believe that there are any less opportunities for people who want to make music now than there always are. I mean, like, I'm 40 next year, and like MySpace, right, happened when I was at university, right?
Yeah.
And I've said this in the last one. And what we used it for was to contact people that were in venues and book tours and do all this, and speak to you guys and speak to Net73 and do that. And that's it. Instead of sitting there going Inverness, buy, swap and sell, which is great, but that's not what I spent all my time on the internet looking at. I was like, what's happening in the rest of the world?
It's quite funny though, having a wee look at that sometimes.
Well, it is and it isn't. Yeah. Like before you realise you've been on it for an hour and a half.
The one recently I saw where it was a lady on selling a pair of leather leather leggings that she had, and it said leather leggings for sale, £5, whatever it was, and she put a picture up of them while she was just clearly sitting on her sofa, just snapped it there. She obviously thought, I'm watching TV, I think I'll sell these. Clicking up there, and I was like, well, I'm out of here. But yeah, MySpace, we had a Netsounds MySpace page.
A lot of that stuff's got the tags on it, you know that?
Yeah.
So people just go out in the rob.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then sell it on Inverness, buy something. So probably more in Inverness, eh?
We
What
had
do you say?
Netsounds
You say we're at a crime epidemic.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway,
maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're talking about MySpace. We had a Netsounds MySpace page, and we did use it just for what you were saying there. It was about contacting bands. And I remember being down, talking to Murray about this recently, Murray Cameron, and I was walking in down for work in Glasgow, and he phoned me and said, no text back then, and said, listen, this band's
He phoned you from a payphone at the docks, like in that scene in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
There was a storm.
And he said, this band's contacted us on MySpace, and they're doing a tour, and they want to play people's living rooms, and they've come across this page, and they want to see, can they play in your living room?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's mental. Yeah, let's put them in. Anyway, the Lost Brothers.
Yeah.
They came, they played. We kept in touch, and then they played at my wedding a couple of years later. So, it's really cool. But that kind of thing.
So, like, that's the thing.
I remember telling my wife that I've got this band coming over, and they're going to stay at our house as well. And she was like, "What?"
Well,
not only are they just
after the wedding.
No. So not.
I was going to say you had the Lost Brothers in your house, like.
So they were going to they played. They were going to do a gig in our living room, which they did, which was fun, and it was great. It was like people just came around, we drank a lot, and they played. It was good crack. And I said to my wife, actually, they're going to stay in the spare room tonight as well. And she's like, what? Are you insane? Yeah. We don't even know them. Yeah, but we will.
We'll be all right. We will by the end of the day.
It was good.
I mean, do you think people are like all that kind of stuff that you end up like just through the fact that you like music, whether it's that you like a specific type of music or you like the people, like it's the people that you get. I was chatting to Matt about this earlier on.
Yeah.
Like you were at my wedding, right?
Yep.
Like, do you know what I mean? You were at my stag do. Like we met through this podcast.
Yeah.
And Murray and Hoodie and everyone, and actually the people that even facilitating something that involves, and the people you meet, and Marion and everyone, and all these absolute legends, and Des and everyone, like, I wouldn't have met these people if it wasn't for like you guys who don't play instruments coming to be part of the thing. Wait, go on then.
Three chords and a guitar at home.
Well, that's fine. That's plenty.
That's all you need, isn't it?
That'll do. That was it. That's the thing that's exciting about it. And I think people misread the point of that. In my opinion, the point of your podcast was about the community element of musicians and the music and what it is, and not there to try and get anyone to buy a record.
Yeah, I think that's for me is that through all of this is that we've met people we class as friends, and we've been involved in their lives, and they've been involved in our lives in some way or another. And it's just, don't like to use the word, but it's just nice.
It is nice.
Yeah.
And like the fact that the only thing that ever brought you anywhere near each other was the fact that you liked music. Or you liked live music, and whether that was you creating it or were you covering it.
I've never thought about that, but the alternative of not doing all that, I always say, like, I don't play golf.
No.
And I never will.
No. Well,
so I'm okay spending money on like cameras and stuff because I don't want to buy what golfers wear and stuff like that. And I don't want to have that alternative lifestyle where I might have been going to a golf course on a Saturday.
Well, when you made that transition from just going to a concert into being part of what was happening at that concert, that must have been very exciting. Because I know for me it was very exciting, not just from a performance perspective, but just even when I was like just starting the band or whatever, and I was like working the bar at a venue, and I was part of the thing that was making the gig happen. When you first went to gigs with a camera, I went, oh, I'm not just watching this anymore. I'm actually part of a thing.
Yeah.
And that's art begetting other art. That's the band. Do you know what I mean?
It was very exciting, and I think I went to, when I left school, went to study radio production. It was actually, so I was going to do stuff on radio and all that.
Because your dad was a broadcaster, right?
He was, and his brother as well. And I was going to do that. In fact, I got accepted for this course, which was quite difficult to get into, I was told at the time. Anyway, I didn't go to it because I discovered alcohol and girls. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, I'm not going off to do this. I'm going to stay here and do what I need to do.
Where was the course?
Glenrothes.
And there's no alcohol and girls in Glenrothes.
Well, at that time, I thought there probably wouldn't be.
There wasn't any.
So anyway, I made that decision. That, I'm actually quite happy with that. But I always wanted to do stuff with music, and I think I probably wanted to be. I don't know. My mum would tell you the story that I probably wanted to be a rock star at one point, and she'll tell you the story about the man from the Prue who came around the house. We would collect the insurance, and he knocked at the door one night and there was no answer. Mum and Dad were both out, and he came back a few nights later and he said, I knocked at the door, there was nobody there. And my mum said, strange, my son was in at least. And he said, yeah, I did hear loud music coming from the bedroom and somebody jumping about.
Yeah.
And that was me with like one of my first guitars, pretending I was like Bruce Springsteen in the bedroom kind of thing. And I actually smashed, these lights used to get in, like my mum had in her house, where you pull the light down over a table.
Yeah.
She had one of those, and I just remember cracking it. And for years it just lay smashed there. And I had to fess up that was actually me. And then my brother berating me, going, you can't even play the guitar. I know.
Wow.
So yeah, I always kind of wanted to, so it was exciting to be part of that scene in some way. And I think we were kind of more like taken aback that people wanted to take us in and say, actually, will you do this for us? Will you be part of this? And we're like, yeah.
But people who make music want to talk about music.
Because we had a passion for it.
And not necessarily their own.
Yeah.
Right? The ones that only want to talk about their own music are probably not very well.
Well, this is, see, we loved music, so it wasn't like, we were talking to bands about their music all the time. It was like, and we've talked about this before, we shared a love for the Beatles and bands like that. We've talked about at length about some of these bands. So it's great to be able to connect with people who have that similar passion, that you can talk about the stuff that my wife, quite frankly, doesn't want to hear
that's,
about.
Mine either. I mean, that's what friends are, right? I mean, the thing is, though, like before I'd sort of spoken with you guys, and my very limited sort of press experience, it was all like a hard shell. It was always like a hard sell. It was like, right, tell me about your band. Tell me about your band, right? What genre is your band? Right,
What's your favourite cheese?
What's your favourite cheese? What you doing? Yeah. And all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, I don't care about this. Like, not in a bad way, but I was like, remember we did you did a end of year showcase or something, I think it was, in Hootenanny.
Yeah.
And we were playing, remember?
Yeah, we had a couple of those upstairs, downstairs. Yeah, it was good.
And it was like, I just come back, and we were still doing the waistcoats at the time. I spoke to Josh about this the last time. But the whole point, it was to be like, we're the anti waistcoat band. So I wanted people to be lulled into a false sense of security, and then just get hit in the face with a load of noise and shouting and having a breakdown, right? But like, I was stringing a guitar and we did this thing, and you started talking about what I was doing, but then both of us got so bored, Jamie.
Yeah.
So we just went off on this, and it was so much fun. I think at one point I said that there's a sound in the record, and it's a guitar made out of a glacier that can only be strummed by tears.
Yeah, that's right. I've probably still got that on a mini disc somewhere.
That's the people, and there's loads of Bowie interviews that are like, the last thing he's talking about is his music.
Yeah, we started that, I think, doing the whole, because you kind of, the first time you do interviews, you kind of like, right, what am I going to ask them? So I'm going to ask them. Yeah. And if you, even nowadays, it's quite lazy, if you Google it and say questions to ask. I did this recently about something just out of interest, and it came up with such drivel around, so you should ask a band what their influences are. You should ask, where did they get their name? Nobody cares. Let's get to the real important stuff that they want to talk about. And I remember you mentioned Marion there.
I love Marion.
I remember at Rockness one year, she said, do I want to interview, his name's just gone now, famous drug dealer, like, this is a really bad game of quiz.
Howard Marks.
Howard Marks, yeah.
Allegedly,
yeah. So Howard Marks was doing a Q&A thing at Rockness.
Well, we played that stage, Howard's End stage. And Marion said, I'm going to interview Howard Marks. Yeah. Do you want to come along and you can interview him after? And I went, what am I going to ask Howard Marks? We're a music podcast, for God's sake, Marion. What are we going to... She goes, but just be good crack, just do it. And that was my first experience of, like, just talk about anything. Yeah.
And it was like, there was the bit of, how are you enjoying the festival? Yeah. And then it was into the music. And of course, he was involved with Super Furry Animals, he had a label and all that kind of stuff. So it was really interesting. The conversation flowed.
Yeah.
I think his manager came up and go, right, enough.
Yeah. Well, that's where you know it's going.
But it was good. It was really good. He was a lovely guy.
But that's it. The hard sell thing is so uncomfortable for everyone. I think, and that's the horrible thing, And like, you started this for my thing because you like music and you liked people that were involved in it.
Yeah.
And I think that was really transparent.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why you said when you were confused, well, not confused, but amazed that people were asking you to come into things, because they identified that you were just like them, but just doing a different thing.
We've always kind of been, and Hootie and I were talking about this recently, we've always been kind of like, well, us? You know, we're our own worst critics.
Yeah.
And you know, we have that imposter syndrome a lot with things. So.
Everyone's got that as well, but you'll discover very quickly. When I was looking after all those shows or doing whatever, and you realise everyone's just people.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And actually, they just, that's all they want to be. So you DJ'd in Mr G's, right?
we're going there.
Yeah,
really.
Man.
Yeah, I did.
Was this before or after you did not do the broadcasting?
After.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that? Was that like a regular Friday or a Saturday?
Yeah, I was doing kind of DJing like mobile stuff.
Aye. But that would have been a lot of fun.
Parties and stuff. It was great fun for like someone that was like 17, 18, 19. And I remember putting adverts, like, oh my God, putting adverts in the paper or whatever at the time, asking, is anyone selling record collections and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember going around to people's houses and actually being distracted by the task at hand was to find a load of singles that I could play at a retirement party or 18th. And getting obsessed with like, oh, what's that Nick Drake album you've got there? Are you selling that as well? Well, I mean, and actually, that's where I got into Nick Drake, because I picked this. I've been obsessed with covers of albums. Yeah. And I picked this up and went, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
And I would go home with stuff that I had not a clue what it
Marky
was.
Moon. No, that's television.
Pink Moon. I would go home. It was Brighter Later was the one I got. I could go home with this stuff and go, I have no idea what JJ Cale, stuff like that. Aye. What is this? Yeah. And play it and go, oh, this is good. And then at the weekend go and play whatever.
Aye, but it'd be good. But like, listen, you're facilitating people's good time.
Yeah, it was great fun.
When I said that and you're going, oh, we're going there. And I'm like, well, actually.
It was great.
The positives of what you're talking about is you're getting all the best parts of being like a fan of music, thinking about what you're going to get. Like looking up singles, thinking like, when I was a teenager and I would make mixtapes for my Walkman, it was the best part of my week.
Yeah. It was entertaining. It was. I wouldn't change any of that.
Yeah.
There are periods of time in that, moments in that time that I can't remember. Yeah. And I kind of blanked out or don't remember. But it was great. I mean, it was really good fun. I think that one of the biggest buzzes I got was one of the first times I was asked to play in G's.
So you were doing the mobile thing.
Doing the mobile stuff.
And you were doing that so well, then the nightclub
they
were like...
asked me to do G's.
I mean, that's good, man.
It was really good. They asked me to do that. And then so I went in, and the guy who was playing Saturday night up there, or Friday night, I think it was like clockwork. Aye. So midnight would come on, and the Grease Mega Mix would play.
Right, okay.
And then it would segue into the Time Warp or whatever it was. And I was like, I'm going to shake this up a bit.
Yeah.
And I remember, and he said to, and I'll never forget, he said to me, what? So he said, I'm going to give you a shot. Like, so right. If I let you do this wee slot midnight, pick 3 records, play it, see how you get on, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he said, what 3 records have you got? And I said, I've got James, Sit Down. I've got Supergrass, All Right. And I can't remember the third, but no, it was off that vein. It might have been Ocean Colour Scene, Davey Caught the Train. I think it was. Yes, it was Ocean. So it was Ocean Colour Scene, Davey Caught the Train. And I faded it out, the bit where all the crowd are going, whoa, la la. So I faded that out as the crowd was singing. Dropped in Supergrass and then dropped in James. And he was like, that'll not work.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was great. So I got the gig there for a wee while, and so I liked kind of dropping that kind of. It wasn't live at all, but do you know what I mean?
It's
bring in that kind of that band feel too, because it was up until then, it was all that kind of stuff, and there was nothing wrong with it, but these were old school DJs that were playing there, who were playing like the Time Warp. And all
if we're talking, so that's about 96, 97. We're talking about that
just
for all right.
Yeah.
For Mosley Shoals was about 97.
Yeah.
96.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. So you're talking about guys playing like Rocky Horror Picture Show stuff. Then. And at that point, guitar music's not just for music people; it's for everyone.
It was just guitar music was kind of coming in, and
So did you feel more connected with music in a way because you were doing that? even though you didn't play. Like when that was happening, right, in the sort of the latter part in the 90s, and music's
I
mega.
like the buzz of when people would come up and like they weren't expecting that, and they would come in and they would then start asking for indie Britpop tunes because they're like, you're the guy that's going to play that because the others are not.
And was that the only nightclub in town at the time?
No, there was Blue.
Blue was open at that point, but it was all hard techno and stuff.
Hard techno, yeah. But Blue was probably kind of cooler for a lot of.
I'd have been in Geesmit.
For that certain type of. I'm okay.
I
with
went
that.
to Blue, when I was sort of 16 odd as well. And I just had the worst time.
I didn't
just
enjoy
like
it
because they were into that kind of music.
But it was a great scene. I mean, but this would have been like
later than that, though. Like.
On a Friday, Saturday night, on average, you would have in both of those nightclubs, you would have an average of anything between 500 and 800 people each night.
Yeah.
On a dance floor, having a great time.
Yeah.
And the staff having a great time.
Just out.
Because everyone's feeding off of that vibe.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned it earlier on, like the curfew thing. So the venue you had to be in by 12 and then it was shut by 1. And then everyone would go off to a staff party.
Aye.
And then they changed it to 3.
Aye.
And it kind of killed the staff party thing because you're like, oh my God.
Well, you don't need that anymore.
It's 3 o'clock, And then also you don't need that anymore. But they were good times.
Well, when I went to bars to do the 3 o'clock, and then that's when we'd start. So I went late.
And then, many years later, Murray and I DJ'd in Hatters. Remember, we used to do some of the Netsounds nights up there. It was great.
Ross just...
And we didn't have to mix because we just drop indie tune after just drop them in.
Drop them in. I mean, when we did the All We're All Outside, it was club night in there, and the whole point was we'd do a band with a touring band. MP3Js, man.
It was just what anyone wanted.
But I remember I once cleared the dance floor on the first tune.
We cleared the dance floor.
I loved it by playing I'm Only Happy When It Rains by Garbage.
Yeah,
first song.
That'll do it. Yeah,
and Neil came back. This one went for a fag because that was it as well. Like that. But segue and Marilyn Manson into T-Rex.
Yeah. Oh, Murray and I used to argue over the time when we'd go no, and I'd press play and he'd walk off. He'd go, I'm having nothing to do with that. Murray did a piece of art.
Aye.
It was bloody MS Paint, but he was really chuffed with it. He did a kind of a cover for us at the time, which I've been trying to find recently, but I can't. And it was Netsounds, and it was in the style of the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
So
that's where he was playing about with that on his MS Paint.
That is good. That is good.
That's how we created a logo then, MS Paint.
So, so mainly now as well, you've got a presence at like Belladrum, you've got a presence at these sort of festivals. You're doing a lot of live sessions and stuff now, right?
We'd like to do more, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we the Belgium stuff. Belgium would be great to us there, and in fact, the last couple of years we've been doing stuff at the Bothy there with Tomatin, which has been great. And it's kind of open. And what's been interesting about it, it's everything we didn't want to do, and it proves the point of like take out of your.
Well, remember, this is the alternative indie and rock podcast.
Yeah, so take it out of your comfort zone. So,
and that's only because that's what I'm comfortable with. And if I do that, and I don't have to do any research or anything, I guess, because I know most of the story anyway.
Yeah. But we kind of, for years at Belladrum and others, we would like go in the press area or on the bus or whatever, and we'd be like, right, let's keep the sound like really neat. Oh, there's a fairground going off over there, get them told. And it was like really challenging sometimes to record. And then Dougie said, what about doing something with Tomatin over in the Bothy? And we were like, oh, that's not going to work.
That's cool though.
And it's worked. And it's worked really, really well.
It feels like it's picked up.
Because it's live. It feels like it's, yes, we're filming some stuff and capturing some content, but content we have to call it now.
Which is what we're doing this. Right?
Yeah, and so we're doing that, but we're also putting on, in a way, something for the punters there as well. And they're enjoying it. So it's not what we thought we would do, but it's actually worked really well. And the last 2 years, it's like, well, how do we top that? Because it's been so good the last couple of years. So we loved it. And just being part of that and being the buzz, kind of like behind the scenes with that and setting it up, and it takes a lot of time too. As like speaking to bands and booking them in and doing all that kind of stuff. I think some people think it just happens and they turn up, but.
Are you still getting to do interviews and stuff? Or is it mainly the live sessions?
It's mainly the live sessions, and I think what we'd like to do is the interviews. The last think the last time we did interviews was with Beth Orton and Johnny Marr.
Yeah.
Actually. So I would like to do more of them because they work well, but it's just trying to get the balance between like jack of all trades and all that kind of stuff. What do we want? Let's focus on that. So we're focusing on the sessions, and we will want to do what we want to do over the next couple of months is do some more sessions, but in our own space somewhere, or a space where we control everything. Because at the Bothy, you can't control everything.
No.
You can't control the light that's coming in. You can't control how many people are going to be pushing up behind you when you're holding a camera. There's lots you can't control.
If only you knew a guy that ran a studio.
If we knew that. So we should come in and do something. But yeah, we're wanting to do something with some more artists and do some really kind of like map it, like plan it from start to finish, like what we're going to do, how we're going to set it up. We can do a bit of that in a festival, but you're limited into how much you can do that. So we'd like to get a bit more creative with it, I think is what I'm saying.
What do you think currently, like, because I mean, without trying to offend both of us, it's been a while we've been doing this, right?
Okay.
It's been a while we've been about, like, and we're busy, parents, lives, all these things. There are things that used to exist that brought everything right to the forefront of our awareness. Things like Go North and things like Expo North. I mean, for that period, this city was the capital of music in Scotland
arguably, absolutely,
for like a week. But that's not happening anywhere anymore and that's a reflection of the music industry as a whole, as opposed to
and I think
anything
it
that's
stopped
happened here.
I don't know if it was COVID or just before. I think it was just before it shifted the dynamics there.
It was COVID because it went online.
That's right.
And then the responsibility, to my knowledge, of Expo North was to encourage all of the creative industries that were the most significant in this part of the country at that point. And unfortunately, over COVID, that wasn't music.
Yeah,
it was textiles, it was culture, it was tourism, and all these things. And then I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I would imagine it was quite significantly European funded too.
Possibly.
And without trying to get too obvious about how I feel about that, like that's what happens.
Yeah, I think it just all changed. I think people pulled back from things. I think people went a bit more DIY with stuff. There wasn't as much funding available, to my knowledge, at that time, and I think people found it more challenging to do stuff. I think what's probably come out of that is that actually people can just do stuff in their own spaces.
Yeah,
create their own stuff and whether it's it's back to basics, a lot of it, isn't it? Whether it's in your bedroom or you've got your own studio or whatever it is. There was loads of artists during that time who went into the luxury of their own wee studios in their house and just do stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, even before that, we didn't have really places to rehearse, places. Really, we had one, like, we ended up, like Igloo you talk about, that was the rehearsal room.
Dave Sidley's place.
Which was cool, and then people used that as well. But right now, there are three places you can rehearse professionally, right?
Yep.
There are 4 places you can go make a record.
Yep.
In this city, you have, like, we're filming all this on old iPhones.
Yeah.
Right? We're recording it on like a laptop that every kid is given one at school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So I think if anyone wants to do it, it's never been more accessible. And you can tailor your own audience or communicate with your own audience direct. You do not need, a label. You do not need management. You do not need any of these things. You just make your music.
Yep.
And get it out there if that's what you want to do.
Yep. No, I think it in many ways it is easier for people if they want to get their music out there. It's easier to record. Like years ago, it would be difficult and it would sound really bad recorded in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
that can sound like you'd listen to demos back from
Yeah.
bands in the 80s and 90s. They were
Yeah.
real demos.
Yeah.
Now you're hearing some demos that are actually really finely polished, and you probably wouldn't know. So in that respect, it's easier to do that.
Yeah.
And I think where it's challenging is to get that music out there.
Well, what's missing isn't that part.
Yeah.
It's guys and girls doing what you were doing.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
there's nobody talking about it really, or when they are, it's so there are either, well, maybe there's not nobody, but there's no, like, when you had that podcast,
Yeah.
I identified with it.
Well, it's like
And I understood the point of it, and I was like, oh great, that's
Yep.
like, it's music in Scotland, and they're where I'm from, which
Yep.
instantly gave me an affinity with that.
Yep.
And you had that little kind of chip on your shoulder that I do, that people think that everything north of Perth is just,
Yeah.
like a whiskey commercial, and then we'll watch this.
I mean,
Do you know what
things like, even like BBC introducing and stuff for a while now, that was quite, that could be down to a local level. Now it's more nationwide.
Yeah. Marian's show.
You used to have Marian on MFR. They stupidly pulled the plug on that.
Well, that's just the real life Alan Partridge film, isn't it?
100%. So there is no, and then you're up against the chat, and there's fewer people writing about new music as well, and it's more niche. So I don't know actually if there is fewer people writing about it. I think it's maybe more difficult to find, and I think a lot of music blogs and a lot of music websites now put so much content on there, and so much clickable content of pictures of, whatever it is that draws people into the websites, that something you want to write about passionately about a new band, by the end of the day, that has disappeared right down their feed and gone. And actually we don't kind of do that because we're too lazy to put a lot of stuff on the website. So actually our stuff hangs about.
Well, I wouldn't say it was these, but I'd say, like, actually, I think there's going to be a revolt against that, probably, where people are like,
it's almost pointless.
You cannot join, like, so if you liked indie or alternative music, you bought a magazine that covered that in a thing. You could, like, there were, let's say that, like, there might be bands in that magazine that I don't like, but because of the coverage they got, I was aware of them.
If we were to follow that model, which we don't, and we don't really sit and think about it. We do stuff, we share it, we go on to something else, but what we don't do is we don't saturate our website and other things with, like, especially the website, which is the home for us, of everything that we've done. Yeah. Because it would dishearten me, because I would put something up that, we've covered, for instance, like Sessions at Belgium, put that up, and then in a week's time, I can't see it because it's gone. Whereas actually I want more people to see it. So I think leaving stuff alive on a site longer for people to see is better. But there's just, I don't know, it's difficult. There's so much stuff out there. There's so much, people are thirsty for knowledge and news, and also people consume it differently. People aren't going to read a 850 word review of a gig.
I would.
And I
it's
would,
difficult, but that's the thing.
Generally,
but, like,
most people are like, I'm bored.
Well, do you know what?
It's the same with our sessions, right? So interesting, our sessions
I'm
that we
kind
recorded.
of the opinion, well, like, to go back to Alan Partridge, like, the people that want to share something in a way that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm so much more. I don't care if there's 10 of them.
The guy,
it's difficult. If you were doing this for a living, right? That's when you'd have to start worrying about going, right, we need to get them through the site. We do that as well. But because you're doing it because you like it, who gives this?
I don't care if it's not refreshed in a week.
Yeah.
The guy that used to run, or does still run, Gold Flake Paint.
Yeah.
He actually went right back to basics, I think a couple of years back, and brought out his music zine, whatever it was, actual physical copies of it.
Yeah.
And they were really cool.
Yeah, man.
And I bought one. It was an edition with Phoebe Bridgers, who I'm a massive fan of.
Yeah.
And I read it cover to cover.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure everyone would.
So,
if you're into it, you will. But then that's what it's for.
Why worry about everyone?
Exactly.
Because the whole point of like the music is you've identified something you're both into, and that's why you're getting.
But also, it's challenging. It's like our sessions that we're talking about there. So the stuff when we film in a band or an artist, we'll film them doing the song or their song, and then we stick it on YouTube. But the one that actually gets the most views is the 20-second clip that goes up on Instagram and TikTok. And that will have thousands of views or whatever. And the YouTube one will have like 75 likes. And it used to kind of be I don't want to see a wee clip. I want to see the whole thing. Now it's like, I don't want to see the whole thing. I want to see a clip.
I don't know, man. I think people are going to get sick of it.
I think it'll change, and I think what frustrates us as well is like the kind of, I'm glad we're not doing it here, the portrait filming of everything, because Instagram and TikTok tells us we need to film like that. But I was reading something about filmmakers recently getting really frustrated about this. So who knows? Technology will change, so it will change into whatever technology dictates, I think, in many ways.
Well, I think there'll be ways to embrace both. So my what I see happening is, or what I'm going to do, what I've decided to do is, like, I've got a Discord group for my band, and I'm going to say to people, join this, that's it. And I'm putting a record out in November.
Yep.
And they're going to be the first ones to get it.
Yeah.
And it's free to join. Yeah. It's free to say you want to hear it. There it is. Pay what you want in that Discord
And then people
group.
are bought into it, and it feels special as
and
well.
It's fine, because even like a Facebook page now as well, people just do it to be polite. Do you know what I mean? Like people say they're going to a gig. They're never going. Not going to that gig. Yeah. They're not going. He lives in Ottawa.
I know.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he's going. Aye, so he is. Do you know what I mean? It's like that.
Absolutely.
And I am so more into doing any sort of art or doing anything to do with music, something that I love, with people who want it, and
that's why I like that kind of music fanzine thing, whatever it was called, with Goldflake Pink, because it was like, here was somebody who's got a real passion for music. Yeah. And the easy thing would be to go on the website and do what it is, but he wanted to produce this physical copy of something. Yeah. And people bought into it. And not just people, but probably the people he wanted to buy into it, bought into it. And they'll return and they'll look at that and they'll see that as a source of where they get, good information, good news, updates on new artists that they're bought into, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make it to any of the Oasis gigs because I've just been busy, whatever. But my wife went and bought me the special edition, uncut thing.
Yeah, nice.
And I was reading it, and I was so happy with the familiarity of that kind of music coverage.
Oh yeah.
Of that magazine, and I do miss it terribly.
Uncut, Q magazine, all these kind of things. Yeah,
I do miss it terribly. But I think that's probably just a reflection. I don't know. Some ways I hope I'm not right, but I feel like music just isn't as big a part of pop culture in general.
I think
I said this to Josh in the last one.
People are competing against loads of things here, and that's why I think probably your album sales were massive in the 70s, 80s and 90s, and you look through time, then obviously there's a real challenge with sales now, what artists get and everything, because people aren't consuming music the way they used to. Even the kids now, it's great, my kids are loving stuff that they're hearing for the first time, like Oasis, like the Goo Goo Dolls, like the Police, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, where are you getting this from? Yeah. And it's TikTok. And I actually don't mind that to a point, because I'm thinking, going back to my mum's record box and looking through that, that is the modern equivalent of that. So I don't mind that at all. I think that the challenge is that, if I was back then when they were that age, I would then go out and buy the record or find another record by that band. Yeah. Because that's how you would do it. And then you'd build up a collection. And that's not happening the same, because there's so many other things that kids are into now. So
that's interesting. So there isn't that, they don't look for that after they hear that one song. They don't connect the dots that is a an artist that will have a body of work that they can then go and discover?
I'm not convinced they do. I mean, I've seen it a little bit. So our eldest has like said she's into Oasis, and she was wearing my Irvine Beach 1995 t-shirt, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, what other songs do you know?
Yeah.
And it was the usual.
Right.
It was the usual ones, and that was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But I think if I think back when I would have heard a record and bought it and liked it, I had a bit of a kind of obsession of like I had to have all the band's records, whether they were good or not. I just needed to know all about that band. It was a wee bit obsessed like that.
That kind of high fidelity.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I'm
yeah.
gonna get them all.
You want to talk to some guy about a B-side at a record fair that nobody else knows.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I mean, I remember when it was physical as well, it was such an obvious part of your life as well.
Yeah.
Like it was constantly there.
But you couldn't rely on it, you taped stuff off the radio.
Yeah.
God, how old am I?
No, I taped, right, I tell you what, I taped songs off.
You didn't know when it was coming on.
No.
So you had to go and buy it.
Well, I taped songs. The first time I taped music, I had one of those, my first
taping
Sony,
is killing music.
Well, I've got that actually in an Afghan Wigs vinyl that I bought. Whatever. Whatever. So but I had my first Sony with a little microphone.
Oh, right, okay.
And I used that and held it up to the speaker on the telly.
I've done that, yeah.
To record a Queen song.
Oh, okay. Right.
From Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Okay.
And was like, I want to have this on tape.
Yeah.
So at that point I had loads of stories at bedtime. A Magic Finger. Was a Roald Dahl.
What?
Magic Finger. It's a Roald Dahl book. It's all right. Look it up. Google Magic Finger and good luck to you. Put Roald Dahl in there and you'll be all right.
Okay.
No, you don't know that story?
No.
It's about a kid. Well, it's Roald Dahl now, so it's probably very cancelable and very dark.
I would imagine the Magic Finger's been cancelled.
No. No, it's a guy and he turns them into geese or something.
Okay.
Anyway, maybe it was a Hilton thing, Jamie. Anyway, but loads of books on tape. The Rick Mail, George's Marvelous Medicine, the amazing.
I still
recording.
like listening to I listen to some audiobooks now, or listen to. And if I go away with work, I really struggle. Like if I'm staying or anywhere, if I'm staying somewhere that's not in my own bed, I struggle to sleep. And I listen to some crap to get me off to sleep. So
the Magic Finger,
some great stuff. I'm going to look it up for the next time. Some great stuff.
It's a real thing.
But yeah, audiobooks.
I've got my phone, Matt.
I like.
Right.
Who doesn't like a good bedtime story? Audiobooks I do like.
Yeah.
And
sometimes it's a bit dark. Sometimes I have fallen asleep.
Shipping forecast is a good one to fall
Oh,
asleep
really?
to.
I mean,
actual shipped.
So when? Okay. I mean,
Spotify. I've got these playlists of the actual.
I'm not on Spotify, mate.
Yeah.
All
the other podcasts do
as
well.
On Spotify,
The other ones have
for a
got them
bit.
too. Yeah.
No, I've got the Apple family plan.
Well, we were thinking of swapping to that. Is it worthwhile?
Well, I've had it forever because it's like I'm really ingrained in their system.
Yeah, we're kind of the same. So
all my invoices for it, that really stuff. It's great. And then me and my wife and my boy, we've got a separate account, so my algorithm is not knackered.
Yeah, mine's beginning to get sorted.
Yeah. But to be honest, even the stuff, because he's not picking his own music because he's 3, I'm picking it for him. So it's absolute bangers. It's Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I load the Brian Eno because when he was little.
Oh wow, okay. A good story about that.
All right, okay. When he was tiny, when he was first born, when you bring him home from the hospital and you're just like, oh my god, he was born via section, right? So they cut my wife in half and I was holding a baby. Mm-hmm. And I just think everyone's going to die because I'm in charge.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Look at the state of this. Anyway, so I ordered McDonald's on Just Eat As You Do in a panic and put on Brian Eno. And then for ages, it was the only thing that would just relax him. And when they're in that next to me bit, next to the bed, so that's it. So I love Brian Eno, but it also gives me back to this terrifying time.
It's interesting. So Brian Eno and Max Richter are the ones with us, so that same kind of vibe. But there was a few years back, and we'd got the family Spotify thing, and Martha had her one in her own room, and she used to kind of chill out music to go to sleep. And the first tune that was on this playlist was Brian Eno.
Yeah, man.
From Apollo.
Yeah, man.
Whatever the album's called.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the end of the year, you get sent that list of here's your most listened to songs of the year. And so I said to Martha, you should go and check what yours are. Yeah. And she went, I've got Brian Eno as my, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go and tell your pals about that. So she had Brian Eno as her most listened to song of the year.
Well, it picked up on stuff as well. There's I was working at a gig with Tom Smith from the Editors.
Yeah.
Like last week, and there's an album they've got called Weight of Our Love. It's amazing album. I don't know.
I really love the Editors. I was gutted I missed that.
It was amazing. It was one of the best things I've ever seen. But there's a song he's written in called What is this thing called love? And in that very emotional, I've just become a father time, it just came on as well. And every time, I just couldn't handle it. And then he did it at the gig, and I had to go stand at the desk. And I told him, I was like, and by the way, you tried to ruin me. But no, he was lovely about it. But yeah, there's these kind of things, this moment. And do you there's something about the access. Like we've been talking a lot about how we like things, without trying to sound like two older guys going, oh, things are better. Like there's something about the access to every song that's ever written. Mm-hmm. But what breaks my heart about that is how much it's kind of sometimes been underutilized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there. I'd like to think I'm as excited about music now as I was years ago, and I think some of that is because I am actually discovering new stuff to me, new to me, through a lot of these platforms. Yeah, and it's like I'll hear something in a film or something like, what's that? What's that? Oh, Shazam it.
Yeah,
and then
there was people having a go because there was
some song from like the late 60s, 70s. I have never heard that. It's amazing. Who is this? And I do that thing that I used to do. Is like I'm going to listen to what else they've got. Yeah. So I think it's still. I think. Are
there kids out there doing that? Because that's what I do too. There was people having a go at that woman who Shazammed Bittersweet Symphony. Did you see that? And then they were like having a go.
Yeah.
And it was like, listen, shut up.
I think there are kids doing that. I don't think we see that as often because. There's kids doing lots of other things that are taking up their time, whatever that is, games, whatever. But I think there are still lots of kids.
I play games, Matt plays games. We both started bands.
I think there's lots of kids still into music and really consuming music. I really do think there is. I think they're just consuming it differently. Mm-hmm. But I think they're still listening. I think they're still getting into stuff. And I see lots of, kids on like Maisie and Martha show me them like, and they're creating reels and stuff with older music, so they're consuming it differently, and I think they're still into it, which is quite exciting.
Do you think when they're looking back to older music, they're looking for people who music was so much part of their identity? Like they're looking for people that were like otherworldly, like Prince or Bowie?
I don't think so. I think what they're coming across, and you touched on this earlier on, is that they're coming across good songs that stand the test of time. Yeah. And if you think about the ones that I'm hearing they're listening to, I'm like, yeah, that's a banger. That's a banger. Might not be my kind of thing, but it's like that's a banger. Every single one.
Well, a good song's a good song forever,
100%.
And we were talking about that just before we started. You started chatting and recording, but it's like I think people get obsessed with new. Yeah. Right. There are people saying like, it's a form of art. And I said earlier on exactly what I said. It's what I'm never going to watch Back to the Future again. It's still going to be amazing. Yeah. Like Gladiator, Alien. Like it's not ruined because you know what's happening. It's still an amazing experience, and people forget that part of music, especially live.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they're getting it confused with like comedy, right? And even comedy's gone that way. Like ever since like even Monty Python, like people were going to see specific sketches. Yeah. Like, I don't care if it's new or not. And I've got people going, I think, again, we're talking about Oasis because they're the biggest band in the world twice. Yep. I don't know if anyone else has ever done that. No. And this time they're doing America, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's lots of great music. I think people will go with a music they like. It doesn't matter where it's from, what genre, what decade it's from. If it's good music, they like it. I mean, Martha, who is 11... was listening to something by Patsy Cline. Yeah. Recently. Okay. And I was like, what? And I was hearing this from her room, and I'm like, she's got the wrong station on or something, And she's like singing these word for word. And that's the other thing. A lot of the kids know these songs word for word as well.
Well, the lyrics are published. Like the lyrics are like part of it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like more than they ever were, really, when it was like in the liner notes or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
so I think that love for music's there. I think music's it's part. I mean, I I listen to lots of new music, but I listen to lots of old music too because it feels good. It reminds me of something, or old stuff I've never heard before. Mm-hmm. So,
and live, like there's been such a correlation, without getting into it too heavily, but like there's been such a correlation with bars and music, right?
Yeah.
And it's I don't drink. I haven't drunk for 7 years coming up Christmas, right? But there always has been that part.
Yep.
But kids don't drink alcohol.
Well,
this generation, they're not as things. So I wonder, do you think the fact that music is still happening in places where it's a lot about drinking as well is maybe putting off some people going to live things?
I don't think so. And so our eldest has recently become obsessed with live music.
Yeah.
And having been at Belladrum, and now wants to go every thing that's going.
Yeah.
And most of the ones she shows us are at the O2 in London or something. I'm like, well, it's not quite happening.
Yeah,
but yet, there are other venues you can go to.
Yeah.
So, but what I like about it, and we're really trying hard not to say, well, we have to say no to a lot of these ones, but she's constantly coming up saying, oh, so-and-so's touring. So, and like those words, it's like, oh, so-and-so is going to be touring next year. So-and-so's got an album out. I think they'll do a tour. And I'm like, okay, great.
Okay.
We'll have a look at that.
Okay.
And and I think in the future, I think her and her friends will probably get to that stage where like, oh, actually, see in Inverness, so-and-so is playing there. Mm-hmm. There's a band playing there. Mm-hmm. And that's where you kind of want, well, if they, I'm not forcing them to do that. If they want to go down that road, that's fine.
Yeah.
But there is that connection with like the first time you ever see a band live, like a proper band live, it blows you away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it stays with you for life.
Yeah.
And so, that generation, this new going to Belladrum or whatever it is and seeing whatever band it is, has that impact on him. It doesn't matter who it is or what genre it is, stays with him because that feeling of being in a community at a live gig right at the front, being squashed, can't feel the ground, sweating, having to buy a t-shirt from the merch stand just because your own one is drenched or sweaty, whatever. It's a great feeling. I think that's still there.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's next for Netsounds? What's next for you?
I think what we're going to try and do maybe over the next couple of months is do some like live sessions with maybe some local acts and kind of do them like, I don't know, maybe in somewhere like this or somewhere that's a bit we can control what's happening and like kind of plan it out.
Yeah,
and something like that I think is probably what we'll do. And I mean, we've got a couple of ideas of things we want to do. Maybe some like kind of live session audience type things in the new year, maybe.
So you're going back to that kind of live session thing over the chatty part, over the interview part. That's where you're sort of focused at the moment.
I think the focus will be doing live sessions, filming those for video content, and then I think what we in the new year might look at doing some live sessions with punters involved. Maybe. Okay, so
gigs.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's a gig, Jimmy.
Yeah, kind of a gig, but maybe not. So still working all this through, as you can tell.
Would you ever go back in an ideal world?
DJ&Gs? No.
Well, no. I mean, but to the music and the chatting about the music format. Do you think that's a thing anymore? Because I mean, are there shows? I mean, forgive my ignorance again, but are there shows like that?
Yeah. So
on streaming platforms, and if there is, why aren't you still doing one?
Why aren't we there's lots of I think music podcasts where they do this. Rack and Turs is one I listen to, which is quite good. Why would we not do it? Do you know what? Ian, it's probably time.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah.
and we it's Hoodie and I that are doing this with Alan, and it's time. It's like fitting it in between.
Yeah.
The kids' football at the weekend,
Yeah.
the kids' badminton, the that, the lifts here and there. I would love to do it, and I'd love to do it more. Maybe next year. Okay. I know that we did some stuff with Hospital Radio in the past before, and I've done loads of stuff with them before. They're keen on doing something. It's just a time, but because I don't want to commit to doing something and then find 2 weeks in, it's like this is not working. I want to. If I'm doing it, I'm committed.
Well, you know, when I wanted to do this, it was the opposite. I didn't want to play any music. It's all about stories, right?
Yeah.
And the people that I think I've got good stories to tell. So on that note, before we go, have you got any stories you want to tell just before you're done?
I don't think I want to confess to anything.
No, listen, this isn't Let's Get Jamie cancelled.
Have I got any stories? I don't think there's loads of stories, isn't there?
Well, you know
I mean, from bands and like meetings and all that whole scene. So, I can't think off the top of my head of any funny. There don't have to be funny stories. I do remember having to. I do remember getting thrown out of a Portaloo at Rockness by Nile Rodgers.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
That's quite good.
And it was a weird one because I was going to take photos in the pit, and I'd probably had a couple of drinks or something at this point and had to go to the toilet. But the band had started on stage. I thought, damn it, I'm probably going to miss the first song. So I'm in the Portaloo, and then there's this. Are you going to be long in there? Like,
yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. And just come in. So I open the door and I'm like, okay. Held the door in front of him. I'm like, and then I walk away going, it's Nile Rodgers. Yeah. And I'm like, but the band's on stage.
Ah, yeah, he's not there yet.
And then I was like, what? So I went down to the pit and I was taking photos, and I was like, and then 2 minutes later, he walks on stage with a big wave, and I go, yeah, it was him.
Oh, it was him, yeah.
So he threw me out of a Portaloo.
His Portaloo.
I think it might well have been his Portaloo. It would have been
probably there primarily to get Niall on stage at that point.
Yeah.
And instead, it was you.
Yeah.
In that Portaloo.
But no, I think what I like most is like it is going back to what you said earlier on. It's meeting people and having that kind of community and just crack and like, you know. And I think one of the things is that Inverness is and still is a place where if there's a band on, you don't have to phone around all your friends and see who's going and find out no one else is going so you don't go. You can just go.
Yeah. And
you will enjoy it, but also you will see other people there that you know.
Yeah.
You know, any gig, any night of the week, if I wanted to, I could go down and go, I'm just going to go down for a gig. And I'd bump into either you or Matt or whoever it is. I would know someone there.
But music's like that in every city.
Yeah.
You know, I think people...
But it's nice when it's in your city.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think people get really down on this city. And I think sometimes they need to just...
I think people like to talk things down. Yeah. And I think we need to probably talk it up. There's lots of great stuff going on. There's lots of people doing great things. And we probably need to expose it more.
If there isn't someone you want here, then do it. Make it happen.
Absolutely.
Like, just get on with it.
Yeah.
Stop moaning.
What's your answer to it? I put that back to people all the time. So what's your answer? What would you do?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what would I do?
Yeah. Well. You know, every time you get in a taxi or someone, they're telling you what's happening with the building at the bottom of Academy Street. And you're just like, all right, mate.
Yeah.
You know, it's that thing.
Yeah.
Right, Jamie, thank you so much for your time.
Been a pleasure. Really enjoyed it. Thanks, Ian.
Where can people find all the Netsounds stuff? That's your camera there.
Netsounds.co.uk, and that's our home, but we're also on Instagram, Facebook, and the TikTok.
The Tickety Talk.
The Tickety Talk, yeah, just Netsounds.
Yeah, I've got one, but I don't know.
There might be an underscore there somewhere.
I don't know how it works. You're on Blue Sky. I got you on Blue Sky.
Yeah, I kind of.
Well, I was an early adopter of Blue Sky but then I really liked it because it was really nice. I've been on. I've got.
It's too nice, I think.
Tim Burgess.
I thought you were going to say Tinder there.
No.
Burgess,
no.
Right.
I feel privileged to have never been
involved. Is Tim
involved.
Burgess on Blue Sky?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And
is he off Twitter altogether?
I don't know. But I hate all of it anyway. I hate a lot of things. I'm on Blue Sky. I've got Tim Burgess and Chris Packham. And Chris Packham likes to just daily stick up a nice photo of a fox.
Yeah,
that's the social media I want.
It's very nice.
I don't want to see. Yeah, I really quite like it. I'm not on Twitter. I'm off Twitter.
But the flip side is on Twitter, it's horrible.
I'm not there anymore.
It's horrible.
Not there anymore. I really want to speak.
I've still got Paige there, but I can't remember the last time.
I've enough friends I can speak to if I want to speak to somebody who's deluded and mentally unwell.
Absolutely.
Anyway, on that bombshell.
Nice to see you, pal. Cheers. Thank you.